Hello everyone and welcome back to the HSE Coach. Today we are going to discuss a very important crane safety topic that every crane operator, rigger, signalman, supervisor and safety officer should know. The question is, what is the safe distance between a crane and power lines? Now, this may sound like a simple question, but the reality is that contact between cranes and power lines is one of the leading causes of fatal accidents in construction and industrial projects. Every year, workers lost their life because a crane boom gets too close to an overhead power lines. And the dangerous thing is that direct contact is not always required. Electricity can arc through the air and reach the crane even before the boom touches the line. That's why understanding the safe clearance distance is critical. Let's start with a real side example. A mobile crane was lifting steel reinforcement bars on a construction project. The operator was focused on the load, the signalman was watching the lifting operations, everything seemed normal. But while swinging the load, the crane boom moved too close to an overhead power lines. Suddenly there was a flash. Electricity arc from the power line to the crane. The current traveled through the crane structure and nearby worker received a fatal electric shock. The investigations found that the minimum clearance distance had not been maintained. Guys, this is why we never take power lines lightly. Now let's talk about what the standards say. According to OSHA and many international lifting safety guidelines, the minimum clearance distance depends on the voltage of the power line. For power lines rated up to 50,000 volts or 50 kV, the minimum clearance distance is 10 feet or approximately 3 meters. This means no part of the crane, load line, rigging or load should come within 3 meters of the energized power line. For power lines above 50 kV, additional clearance is required. A common rule uses 10 feet plus 0.4 inches for every 1 kV over 50 kV. However, on most construction sites, the practical rule everyone remember is minimum at least 3 meter clearance unless a greater distance is specified. Always verify the actual voltage before starting work. Let's make this simple. If you see an overhead power line and you don't know its voltage, treat it as energized, treat it as dangerous, and maintain a safe distance. Never assume a power line is dead unless it has been officially isolated and confirmed by the utility provider. Now, here is another real site example. A crane operator was working near a factory boundary wall. The overhead power line was visible, but the operator believed he had enough space. During telescoping of the boom tip entered the restricted zone around the power line. The crane did not actually touch the conductor, but electricity jumped through the air. The result was equipment damage and serious injuries. This incident proves an important point that you don't need direct contact for an accident to happen. Electricity can arc. That's why minimum approach distance must always be respected. So, how can we prevent these accidents? First, conduct a site survey before crane operation begin. Identify all overhead power lines, determine their voltage, mark danger zone and include the informations in the lifting plan. Second, establish barricades and warning signs. Workers should clearly know where the danger area begins. Physical barriers can help prevent cranes from accidentally entering unsafe zones. Third, use a dedicated signalman or spotter. The crane operator may not always be able to judge distances accurately from inside the cab. A trained spotter can monitor the clearance distance and stop the operations before a dangerous situation develops. Fourth, consider de-energize the power line if work must be performed nearby. This should only be done in coordinations with the electrical utility company and site management. Never assume a line is isolated without proper authorization. Now let's talk about what to do if a crane contacts a power line. This is extremely important. If the crane becomes energized, the operator should remain inside the cab whenever possible. Do not jump out immediately. Want all workers to stay away from the crane. Anyone touching the crane and ground at the same time could receive a fatal electric shock. Emergency services and the electrical authority should be contacted immediately. Only leave the crane if there is an immediate danger such as a fire. And if you must exit, jump clear with both feet together and shuffle away without lifting your feet from the ground. Let's quickly summarize the key point. For power lines up to 50 kV, maintain a minimum clearance distance of 10 feet or 3 meters. For high voltage, additional clearance is required according to the line voltage. Always identify overhead power lines before lifting. Use spotter and warning barriers. Never assume a power line is de-energized. And remember, electricity can arc through the air even without direct contact. Before ending this video, remember one simple rule. If you are not sure about the voltage or safe clearance distance, stop the job and verify. A few minutes of planning can prevent a life-changing accident. If you found this video useful, please like, share and subscribe to the HSE Coach and comment below what minimum crane clearance distance do you follow on your site. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay alert, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.